together in a long time. I mean, we did the birthday one, but like, it's our first video together in a long, long time. Are you ready? Okay, so today we're going, or should I say tonight, because it's nighttime now. Hi, hero. He thinks we're going to eat. We kind of are. Okay, so tonight we're going to be talking about our paranormal weird experiences. Because in another video coming up, we're going to do like a ghost hunting video. And I put it in quotations, I'll tell you guys why. But anyway, in another video coming up, we're going to do something like that. So I want to talk about like if we believed in it, any experiences we may have before we do that video, because I think doing that video would be too long. But in between of there, I do have something weird and unique for Chase to try. I said it in a different video, but then I never got around to doing it. And then I'm going to surprise him with something better. It's not going to be all crazy, nasty stuff to try. So I think before you try the crazy, unique thing, which you probably know because it's been in our freezer and he goes in our freezer, so it's kind of hard to miss. But
yeah, but you can put something right in my face and I will not see it.
I mean, that is true. But so let's start off by saying, do you believe in like paranormal, ghosts, spirits, things of that nature? Are you a believer?
Yes, and we can get into the reason why.
I am so-so. I normally would say no, but I've had some experiences that I cannot explain. So those experiences that I cannot explain make me go, well, what else was it? So I could go either way, and you definitely are. All right, let's try our weird and unique thing. So this is ranch ice cream. I found it on Walmart.com when I was doing food shopping, and I thought it would be great. Somebody said they missed our weird tasting videos, and I'm sure you're happy this is not a scorpion again.
This is not a bug.
Or any other kind of bug.
Who said it? Who said they missed this stuff?
I would have to go back and look. But somebody did. So I figured when I seen this doing food shopping, I was like, let's do it. Let's do it. I kind of missed the food videos too. And I think this was supposed to be...
What does it say on top?
I think this was supposed to be like a joke thing. Dear mouth enjoys sincerely live.
Oh, that's nice.
So maybe it's going to be good. I mean, it's sold out now that I've seen. Oh, the lid is kind of sticking to it. It's sold out now, but maybe they'll come back with it. It's limited edition. I think they come out with different flavors often. I think there was a mac and cheese one too.
I'd eat mac and cheese.
Oh, that definitely smells like ranch. Ew. Ew. I'm not a big fan of ranch though. So somebody who's a big fan of ranch might like it.
My immediate thought goes to carrots and cucumbers and...
Right? Not ice cream.
No.
But for the record, again, if we don't like it, that doesn't mean you shouldn't try it because your taste buds might be different than ours. I'm never about the don't eat that thing. You try it for yourself.
Oh, do I get to go first?
I thought we were just going to go at the same time.
Ladies first.
No, we're going to go at the same time.
Oh,
It definitely smells like ranch, though.
It definitely smells
and
like ranch.
I don't know if it's because the lighting in here, but it kind of has like a green hue to it, right? It's definitely not white.
Yeah.
It's definitely not white.
Cheers.
I'm so nervous.
Jump first, think later.
Nope. That's disgusting. That's terrible. I'm just gonna...
It tastes like milk
Oh.
and ranch and carrots.
But like cold and in the ice cream form.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that. Maybe if you had like carrots to dip in it.
Absolutely not.
No? Okay, that's disgusting.
No.
I think that's disgusting.
No, it's like purified vegetables and ranch.
I'm sorry I made you try that. I did try it too, though.
Oh, hey.
I'm
Okay,
sorry
now
I
this
made
is a
you try
surprise.
that. So, this is my I'm sorry I made you try that charcuterie board.
Oh my God.
I don't know. I did make a video of making this charcuterie board. I don't know if it's going to work, though, or not.
Is that what you were doing?
Let me get the plates.
We need a knife.
I think we have like one cheese knife. If it even is a cheese knife.
Oh my gosh.
I'm not sure this is actually even a cheese knife, but I found it in the drawer. It kind of looked like one. Okay, so...
Wait, these aren't crackers.
No, okay, I thought they were crackers. They are not crackers. They are like cheese crackers. But on the box, it did show like you putting, like doing this with it.
But they're like a cheese, they're like, so
The
it's
cheese.
like the hard cheese fried cheese
Yes.
crisp things. Oh,
Yes.
it's awesome.
I don't know if this is cheese knife, but that's all I see. So wait, 1 out of 5.
I don't know if that's the good one.
We have more than one cheese knife.
No, we had others that came with like Hillshire Farm stuff that kind of like fall apart. So that's why I was pulling over.
Oh, well, that's the only one we got. So hopefully it's good. So 1 out of 5, 5 being great, 1 being terrible. What would you rate the ice cream?
Oh, that's like a -2.
Yeah, that wasn't good. That was not good.
I mean,
yeah.
it's not so bad that I wouldn't feed it to my enemy. I probably would, and not tell them about it.
I would try other flavors though. Like if they had mac and cheese, I would do it.
Okay, to its credit, it does indeed taste like ranch.
It's definitely ranch.
It's
If you
just
love ranch, you love
disgusting.
it. If you love ranch, you love it though. I'm just not a huge ranch fan. I don't
if
think
you
are
really
either.
love ranch, you know, what'd be great on
What?
carrot cake.
This is your cheese knife? No. Oh my gosh, no.
It's a joke.
Oh, that makes. I don't even. Why would you joke like that?
Because I joke to
I'm
cope.
sorry. This is a cheese knife. This is a cheese knife.
Uh-huh.
I love our charcuterie board. Let's see if we can like turn it, because this is the first charcuterie board I've ever made.
What's 1916?
I think that was the cheese. I do have all the wrappers for everything, if you want to know what everything is.
Okay.
But it's all in the kitchen. I'm not getting up.
So can we detail what everything is on here? This
No,
there's a
because
lot.
that's not what the video is about. I just wanted to give this to you as a thanks for trying that ranch ice cream.
You know what? If this is my thanks, I'll take it.
And I got 2 new plates from Target when we went.
Nice. Was it peach and pear?
I think it's peach and pear.
I'll take the pear.
Or is that an orange? Is that orange or a peach?
Mm.
I don't know. Alright, so let's get into, as we eat, we'll get into, this will be like one of those things. I just realized how long ago was mukbangs or whatever a thing. Mukbangs a thing.
No, I don't know. I just want to.
So
I'm just gonna start.
I'm gonna say my first weird, unusual story first, because I don't think it's really paranormal, but it was weird and it always stuck with me from when I was a kid. And then I guess we'll go 1 for 1 on stories.
Okay.
So I would say my first that's weird, can't be explained thing was when I was little and Santino, my nephew, was a baby.
Mm-hmm.
I was sleeping in his pack and play with him. I still remember it.
Pack and play. Okay.
Yes, I still remember it. And my mom always told everybody in my family that our family has a gift where you would dream of somebody. You would dream of our grandmom or a grandpa before somebody in the family died.
Okay.
We just always knew that. It was always said, right?
Yeah.
So, me being little, I guess I never really thought much about it. I don't know how old I was when Santino was born. I was young. I was in my early teens.
Wait, how old is he now?
He's 18 or 19. I was in my early teens when Santino was born. So...
No, you weren't.
Yes, I was.
You were like 12.
Okay,
12 or
alright.
13
I said
then.
early teens, it was the same thing. I was sleeping in Santino's pack and play, and I woke up, and I remember looking at my mom and going, I had a dream of grandmom. Now, I never met my grandmom. I've seen a few pictures, but the dream I had of her was not what the pictures looked like. But I just somehow knew it was her, and she was just staring at me.
Okay.
We have those metal railing banisters. You know what I'm talking about? My mom's house. There's
The railing's at the top of the stairs.
the whole thing is metal though. Anyway, I seen her face looking at me through there. And I woke up and I told my mom, I said, I don't know how I knew it was her, but I just knew it was her. And maybe an hour later we got a phone call that somebody in our family died.
Okay.
And my mom was like, you must have the gift. And I remember going, I don't want the gift. No, thank you. And my mom was like, well, just say you don't want the gift then. And I said, I don't want the gift.
Did that work?
And it never happened since. But I still can't explain how that one happened. When my mom was telling me this whole time, she didn't tell me all the time, but she did mention it before. You normally have a dream of one of your family members before somebody dies, and that totally happened.
Okay.
So that wasn't paranormal to me, but that was just something weird that kind of always stuck with me. And again, I was like, I don't want that gift. That doesn't sound like a great gift to have. No, thank you. So do you have anything because I know you have experiences being older. Do you have anything from a kid that freaked you out?
Oh my God, yes. So a lot of stuff has happened in my life.
I forgot what the prosciutto was.
There's something that happened when I was a little kid after my grandma died. I don't particularly remember the details on it, but the one that really stuck with me that is ingrained in my brain, the first thing, and I can call up my buddy and be like, hey, you remember this thing? And he'd be like, yeah, dude, and he just freaks him out. Like it sends chills down his spine.
How old were you?
I want to say Logan's age, so like 10 or 11. And I'm an 80s kid, so we pretty much were given free reign to roam around our woods. The dog would hang around us. In this particular case, the dog wasn't in the woods with my best friend and I. But we went into the woods, and I had like a junior bow. I was learning how to do archery and stuff. And
which one's for judo? I don't remember. I think these are.
Yeah, no. Oh, I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, we went to the woods, right? And it was late fall, so there was like leaves everywhere. All the trees were bare. There was like not much brush. But we heard this cowbell. We're up on a mountain, okay?
Mm-hmm.
But we hear this cowbell, and it's kind of strange, and we start following it. And we are looking into this sort of clearing where there's a few trees. And there's a tree in the distance. It's thin. It is not big at all. And from behind this tree...
Hold on. Do you need something, Logan? Go ahead. All right, go ahead. You were talking about a thin tree.
Okay, so from behind this thin tree, right? This tall thing comes out. It was covered in a sheet. I don't know what to tell you. It was basically covered in a sheet, right? And I couldn't see its feet, but it came out and it was significantly wider than the tree. And my buddy and I got a little paranoid. I shot an arrow at it, and it hit it, and it went through the sheet. Like I saw it whiff it, but clearly it just missed. It kept going. The thing stopped. It turned. Clearly, there's no face. Again, it's just a blanket, and it like hisses. My buddy and I turn around and we booked it out of those woods. And that's pretty much the end of the story. That we have no idea what that was.
Do you still talk to that friend?
Yeah. But like to this day, it's just one of those things that has stuck with us, and I have never encountered or heard of anything else of that nature.
Creepy.
Yeah.
Actually, I never had an experience that creepy.
It was really weird. It started this obsession with my friends where we would try to hunt it down in the woods and never encountered it again.
That's smart. I'm sure your mom nowadays would love to hear that.
Yeah, it was like our own little Goonies episode.
I'm sure she would love to hear that nowadays.
Totally.
That Reverend 1916 cheese is rather interesting.
Yeah.
It smells real strong. So I don't think I had a really crazy experience for like a large period of time. Like, yeah, lights might flicker, things like that might have happened, but like, how could you say it's one thing over just, the electric being weird?
Sure.
I would say the next weird thing I had was when my dad was in the hospital.
All right.
So a little backstory, and it's not my story to tell, but part of it kind of is. My dad was in the hospital, how many years ago? 3 years ago? 3 years ago? He died and came back to life, okay? All in one hospital stay. It's not funny, but it was very intense. Anyway, when he was in the hospital, I remember being in bed one night, and I think I told you this.
Mm-hmm.
I remember being in bed one night and just waking up and seeing like a red glowing ball, like right in front of my face, like a big red glowing ball. Red, his favorite color, red's my favorite color. I don't know what red symbolized at that moment, but I just remember seeing a bright red ball, but I wasn't scared.
Mm-hmm.
I was never scared. And I just went back to sleep. I was like, oh, that's
a thing.
That's something. And I just remember going back to sleep because I wasn't scared.
Yeah.
But I do know I was definitely up. I do remember. Ooh, there's another story. I know we were going to go 1 for 1, but I'm going to forget this one if I don't say. When I was little, there was something else that happened. And I don't know if I would call any of this whatever.
Normal.
Why can't I say that word tonight?
Paranormal
or not. But I remember, and I told my mom about this, and she laughs at me for this, and she goes, it was probably just your older sister, because I have 2 older sisters. But I know it was not. I was in bed with I have 2 older sisters. I was in bed with one of my older sisters growing up. We shared the same bed. And I remember waking up in the middle of the night and just feeling paralyzed. Like I couldn't move, I couldn't talk, nothing. But I knew I was up. And I remember seeing this figure, like hunched over, go from our door over to our toy box, back to the door, and then its head was just kind of on my dresser. But I couldn't scream, I couldn't do anything, and I fell back to sleep. Like, that was it. Then I woke up the next morning, I told my parents, and they were like, it was probably your other older sister going to get something. And I was like, there's no way, because she's tall. Have you met her? She is tall. I was like, there is no way that was her doing that. And it freaked me out, but again, I just let it go, and I never thought about it again. I was pretty good at letting things go and never thinking about it ever again.
Well, I get the sleep paralysis. That does happen. But the head on the dresser thing is a little... It
was like something hunched over, walked across the room to the toy box, walked back, and then its head was like just on the dresser. And I fell asleep. I guess I probably thought it's best if I just fall back to sleep. No, you ever have that thing like where you're like, if something bad's gonna happen, I'll just fall asleep.
Yeah.
If somebody's gonna break into the house, I'd just rather be asleep.
Take me while I'm sleeping.
Yeah, I'd just rather be asleep if something bad's gonna happen. So I just fell back to sleep and never. I told my family about it, and again they like giggled and laughed, and I was like, no.
Okay.
I was so scared. I was so scared.
So the main reason I believe in ghosts is because when I was in college, they had a paranormal research section club thing.
Did they?
Yeah.
They did, didn't they?
They did. So now this was before what would they call it? Paranormal State?
Ghost hunters and all that?
Well, no, Ghost Hunters was a thing, TAPS was a thing.
I remember that
but
stuff.
Paranormal State wasn't on air yet. But that was happening.
These are good.
I just wasn't on main campus. I was on a satellite campus.
Alright.
So the paranormal club thing was a thing. So ultimately I was tasked with trying to gather evidence. And so it just so happened I had a friend who had some ghost stuff going on. And I had a recorder, and I happened to catch some EVPs, which were pretty interesting. So when we got to the lab...
Wait, I'm sorry. It was somebody's house who was haunted?
Yes.
Okay, good.
So when I got to the lab with the recordings, we were able to upload it, and we did some wave analysis. And we were able to determine where the sound was on a wave spectrum, right? And all the sounds that came out that were vocal, one in particular was really clear. They were out of human vocal range and out of our what we can actually hear.
So you couldn't hear it, but the thing picked it up.
Right. So we couldn't hear it. It clearly didn't come from any of us, but it was there. So from a scientific perspective, I can say for sure, yes, we caught something. Yes, it's not able to be heard or spoken by a human. So what is it?
What is that? Do you remember?
Yes.
You can't say any of that on camera.
Oh, I can't say that?
Yeah, words get flagged on YouTube. So they said some stuff.
So yeah, one said I'm going to...
It's fine.
Do stuff, evil stuff. I called one a name, and it adamantly said it's not that name, and then another one was a young child saying mom.
This was like somebody's house?
Yeah. There was some serious activity there.
I wouldn't have moved out. But see, that's the definition of mess around and find out. Why you gotta mess around? Why did you feel the need to go mess with it?
Well, okay. So, on a similar token, I'm sure you all heard at some point in time I lost my brother a couple years ago.
No, I wasn't doing YouTube at that time.
Oh, okay. I lost my
I was doing YouTube at that time. It was right before I stopped.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
So I lost my big brother a couple years ago. And
I forgot about this story.
Yeah, at one point in time, my dad and my siblings were getting the gravestone put into place, and they were just kind of recording, talking to each other. And in the process of their discussions, they caught an EVP, and I know my brother's voice, and that was my brother's voice.
I thought you were going to say that other thing.
No.
Go ahead, keep going.
No. So my brother, knowing my other brother, knowing that I've done this in the past, he sent me the file, and I did
I remember
a spectral analysis on it, and lo and behold, I found there were 2 spots where his voice, my deceased brother's voice, can be heard. One is below the audible range, and one is above the audible range.
Yeah, because your other brother didn't hear that second one, right?
No, he did not.
But then once you hear it, you cannot unhear it. You're
Yeah.
like, I am.
And again, like I said, my brother, my oldest brother, he has a very distinct voice.
Mm-hmm.
And if you hear it, you
Yeah,
immediately think he's there. But,
Yeah.
But we know that's not the case.
I thought you were going to say,
The night he died?
what happened the night he died?
No.
I'll say it.
Yeah.
I'll say it because I experienced that.
Yeah.
I forget some of these experiences until you start talking. I go, that did happen. So, he died back in 2020 when the world was in the midst of what was going on.
Yeah.
And so, when Chase got back home, I said I would feel safer if you slept upstairs. I slept downstairs, and we just quarantined for a little bit, spent some time apart for a little bit. Just to make sure, because we didn't know, the world didn't know what was happening. We didn't know how things were happening or anything. So I said, you sleep upstairs, I'll sleep downstairs. So I slept downstairs, but wasn't Bella with me?
Yep.
She also slept downstairs with me because if I sleep downstairs, the kids love to have a sleepover, they're down here.
Yep.
Anyway, we were sleeping on the couch, and I remember hearing a noise, and I was like, is that a cat? Now that's another thing. If I hear a noise, I'll blame it on anything but paranormal, okay? I'll be like, that was the cat that's not even in the room. That was the dog that ain't even down here, but I don't care. It's the cat or the dog. I was like, it must be the cat. And then I was like, but the cat ain't down here. So then I figure I might as well go check the front door just to make sure like the front door is secure, everything's fine. I walked past, to go to our front door, you have to walk past the garage door. I walked past the garage door and it was open. We have 2 locks on the garage door. We have the bottom lock where the handle's at, then we have the top lock, that latch. It's just a latch, right?
It's a slide lock.
The bottom lock was unlocked and the door was open until it hit the latch. Freaked me out. I ran upstairs. I said, Chase, you gotta get down here because I don't even know how that would have opened. Our actual garage front door was locked and closed, and it's not like somebody could have came in and tried to go through the door because that garage door was also closed. It was just the door leading inside the house that was open.
Yep. And Logan was asleep in his room.
He was. It was only me and Bella down here, and it definitely wasn't a cat. The cats were down here, first of all. No, it definitely wasn't a cat. And the door was locked. So it was like as if somebody was going outside or I don't know.
Somebody was coming from the garage in.
But the door was locked. I don't know. It freaked me out, and I remember going, Chase, I can't do that.
Well, that night,
freaks me out.
Well, also, after that happened, I went upstairs and I ran a spirit box. I had a spirit box
Yeah.
app.
He has like an app on his phone. See, Chase messes with this stuff. I don't mess with it because even though I am a somewhat believer, somewhat not, I'd rather not be the person to mess around and find out. I'll respect everybody's theories, everybody's feelings, because I don't want, if it is real, it coming back to me. So I respect everybody on everybody's thoughts and everybody's feelings. But yes, you have that app.
So again, it's one of the ones that it goes through frequencies. So it's really
Like
loud.
radio.
It's like it's kind of annoying, and it's hard to catch sounds when it shows up.
Yeah.
But sometimes when stuff comes through, it comes through really clearly. So I had it running.
You should put it on.
No, it's not right now.
Your phone's charging.
Yeah, and I had it running, and there was 3 times that a voice came through that again was very distinctly my brother's, and it was clearly in response to what I was saying, and after it was all said and done, I came downstairs and I told Bree about it, I mean, I'll be honest. It sounded. I know my brother, and it sounded confused. It sounded like he was rushing because he was always constantly rushing everywhere. But it sounded like he was confused and he was trying to like make sense of it all. Because again, this was the day after. So we came downstairs and I told Bree about it, and Belle was there, and you know, you were like, well, turn it on and see what happens. And we were trying to talk to him, and the last voice that came through was, I love you, but I have to go. And that was it.
Did you cry a little?
We were all bawling at that point. It was tough.
It is.
Yeah.
It is. Well, those olives are hot.
No, thank you.
Maybe if they don't have the thing in the middle.
Sure.
I'm not good with hot food. I didn't think they were hot. I obviously read it wrong. So,
I got a lot feta.
you?
Mm-hmm.
I have a story, but it's not something that I experienced. It's something somebody else experienced in our house. But because we're going to be doing the ghosting in our house, I feel like I should include this. I was there at the aftermath. You see Hero walking around trying to get food? I was there at the aftermath, and I think you were too.
Aftermath?
So we had the family living with us, and at one point, the mom was down in the basement, and you heard her scream, and she was like, get down here, and she's calling her partner, and she's calling everybody down there, and I remember going down there, and she was hiding in the closet in your game room, which is now your game room. Back then it wasn't your game room.
It was like an armoire. It was a standing closet, but there was.
Oh no, that's so spicy.
There was drawers on one side and a mirror, and then on the other side it was just this big open thing that you can like hang wardrobes and stuff in. So that's the section she was hiding in. She was hiding in there, and I said, "What happened?" And she said, "I was down here folding clothes, and it sounded like something flew across, which is now your office, but the room outside of there." She was like, "I swore something. It just sounded like somebody threw something. So I hid because I knew nobody was down here." And I was like, I'm so sorry that happened to you. But again, it's funny to me because I wasn't in that experience, but if that happened and I was down there, I definitely would have ran for the hills. Like I did in my next story, which I cannot forget this one, because out of all my stories, this one freaks me out the most. And I cannot say what this was or was not. Okay. You might remember this one. You should remember this one because I was so scared. So one night I was sitting on the couch with Hero. Nobody else was down here. Only the TV light was on. No other lights were on. And out of nowhere, Hero gets up from the couch, goes to our kitchen, goes to the corner, and with his hair standing up, he just starts barking and growling. Do you remember this? I do, because then we walked around and we started recording.
Oh my goodness. He started barking and growling like and he's never done that to anybody. And he's never done it since. He started barking and growling with his hair up. He was so angry, like something had to be in the corner of the kitchen. And I'm looking around like maybe he's seen a light, maybe like, I don't know, maybe there was a bug, even though again, he's never acted this way before. I was trying to make sense of what he was seeing, because I couldn't see anything. And you better believe I was not getting up to turn on that kitchen light. I was not going to go see. I could see from the couch where he was at and the corner he was looking at, but I was not going to get up and turn on that kitchen light. I said to myself, because there's flight, fight, and freeze. I definitely froze. And I said to myself, on the count of 3, just run up the stairs. He was in the shower, the kids were upstairs. I said, just run up the stairs and get Chase. Just do that, okay? And so I said, 1, 2, 3, and I just ran. And when I tell people this story, they laugh at me and they go, you left the dog down there? I absolutely left the dog down here. He was doing just fine on his own. I did call him upstairs like once I got up there, but you best believe I ran right past that dog. Absolutely. I still don't know to this day what he was barking and growling at. And again, he's never done it since. Yeah. He's never done it, period, since. Not to anybody, not to an animal. He's never done it. That is my most freaky story that I cannot explain. Okay. I have no idea what that was. And he was like, I remember you saying, you didn't like take a picture? You didn't like see if anything would show up on I said, absolutely not. I froze. I counted to 3 and I ran. You're lucky I didn't run over the banister and I went around the banister because I was about to run over the banister. That's how scared I was. Because I couldn't see anything. I was like, what is he barking? There's no lights. Like, and I don't even know how lights would shine through the kitchen because we're not next to a road over there. I don't know. I was done. Even thinking about it like freaks me out because I can't think about what happened.
Yeah, I remember that.
I can't figure out what happened. I still can't figure out what happened. I wish I could.
Well, we did walk around with the camera on, and we did catch some voice.
I don't remember that part.
I just don't remember what the voice was saying. It was incredibly hard to hear. And even plug it in, I couldn't enhance it enough where you heard something, but like it was.
That was creepy.
There was a voice. I just couldn't hear what it was.
Thank you.
Maybe. Okay. So when I was a teenager, we lived on an old farm that was around since like the 1700s.
What your website freaks me out.
It was around before the Revolutionary War. As a matter of fact, during the Revolutionary War, there's a tale of a Hessian mercenary who wandered onto the property and was killed by the owner.
This was in New Jersey, right?
No, this is here no, this is right here. It's
I thought this was in New Jersey.
No, it's up in Quakertown. Excuse me, I keep burping. Anyway, the Hessian wandered into this farm and was killed and then buried by the well. Since then, like there have been various sightings and stories and whatnot. There's tales of Norman Rockwell who would stay at that farm, and he'd paint in the barn, and his dog would growl at things that were moving in the barn and stuff when nothing was there, stuff like that, right? Well, one Christmas, my mom went around and she went to take pictures of the property because it was beautiful.
She still has these pictures.
Yeah, she wanted to make a Christmas card out of these. But unfortunately, a lot of the pictures did not come out well because there were all these wisps and mist and junk everywhere.
Yeah. And
we couldn't figure out what was going on. Eventually, we realized that all the mists and wisps and stuff was focused around the well in the barn. Like you literally see this picture of the barn, and it's just this mist hanging right around the barn.
I remember that picture.
And there's one that she specifically knows it was taken of the well because she took a picture of the well, one picture of the well, but none of the pictures that you see are of the well. So clearly this one, which is all mist, has to be of the well, right? And so we really didn't know what was going on, but we kind of figured, okay, well, people say they talk about ghosts. We kind of figured it's ghost stuff. I was in the kitchen with my mom and my girlfriend at the time, and my mom was showing my girlfriend these pictures, and we were having a story, right? So like this is the island where we're standing, right? My mom was here, my girlfriend was over there, and I was here, and my mom put down the picture of the well, right? And she was kind of pointing out how it doesn't make any sense, it's just mist and whatnot. But the way that I was looking at the picture, you could see very clearly the shadow of a soldier walking forward. You could see the rifle in his hand and the bayonet in the mist. And I froze. And I go, Mom! And I take the picture and I turn it sideways so she can see it. And I just go around the figure with my finger. And I've never seen every single hair on my mom's body stand up on end as she took a step back, holding her chest, going, oh my God, as she realized what she was looking at.
Gosh. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And we realized we caught a picture of this German soldier.
You said somebody was buried on that? Okay, hey, this is the property you keep driving us to, right? And showing us?
Yeah.
That's great.
No, it is great. I love that property. I wish I had $2 million to buy it.
Famous person bought it, didn't they?
Yeah, it wasn't that much when we got it.
Who bought it? Wasn't it the Hines family or something?
So, the people who bought it from us is Carter Burwell. He's a musician, music composer for various movies. A Knight's Tale is one of the movies that he worked on. And then, yes, then it got bought into the Hines family.
Ketchup.
Yep. I forget specifically which one, but they bought it and put it into the Historical Society, and then it sold not too long ago to somebody else.
So, you said somebody was buried on that property? Did they ever take the body out?
I don't think so, but the German soldier that wandered on the property was the one that was killed and buried there. So it's the German soldier.
So he was buried near the well, thrown in the well, like what?
Near the well.
Nobody's gonna. I would want to take his body up, like give him an actual resting thing.
Well, okay, that can tie into another story. Do you want me to go again?
No.
Okay. So.
He was taking deep breaths, like.
After this whole picture thing, there were incidents where I would get up like at 6 o'clock in the morning.
How old were you?
15, 16.
Okay.
And I would go to the barn to take care of the horses. And while I was in there, I would hear footsteps up above. So much so that I would see like dust coming down. And so I would follow them, and there was a staircase that went to the upper floor, and the latch was always open because I'd go up there and get hay. So I'm following these footsteps as they come to the front of the door, at the top of the stairs, and they'd stop at the top of the stairs, but there was literally nobody there. I could see very clearly into the upper floor, but nobody would be there. So stuff like that would happen. Well, one night, it was Christmas Eve. Supposedly that's when the Hessian died. And so we decided, you know what, we're gonna make friends with this guy. So we got some German schnapps, and we went into the barn, and we all said Merry Christmas in German, and left a shot of schnapps for the Hessian soldier, right? We all went to bed. Christmas happened. But in the middle of the night, everybody gets woken up because we hear really loud banging coming from the barn. And then it stops, and suddenly we hear really loud banging coming from our basement of the main house where we're standing. And then it stops. And then we hear a door fly, then we hear the carriage house door fly open and slam shut. And then we hear more slamming in the barn. And it was just a lot, right? So we did our best to get back to sleep. And the next day, one of the first things we did was we went back to the barn to check on the schnapps. It was empty. And there was a dead black spider at the bottom of the schnapps. So make of it what you will. But we like to joke, my brother and I, that we got a German ghost drunk on Christmas Eve.
You all are all about messing around and finding out. My family was not like that. My family was not like, oh, we might have a ghost, let's do things.
You don't know till you know, right? It's part of the scientific process. You have a hypothesis, you test it, and sometimes cool stuff happens.
My mom would tell me it was a light. My mom would tell me, I now tell, myself, hey, it's just a cat. When we don't have cats anymore, we're going to have a problem. Because everything's a cat.
Can't blame it on the cats anymore.
Every noise is a cat. Every door is a cat. Every scribe is a cat. We'll have problems when we don't have cats. Well, the next thing I want to talk about, I'm sad that I don't have this proof anymore. And I asked my mom because I sent her the video too, and she was like, I don't have it. I deleted all my messages. And I was like,
oh, what's this?
The light. So we have a security camera.
Which one are you talking about? Oh, security camera. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
All right, I know where you're going with this.
So one of our security cameras needs to be plugged in to recharge. So when it needs to be recharged, I always take it upstairs to our bedroom. I plug it in because our bedroom doesn't get a lot of movement. Throughout the day. Only at night when we're going to bed. Otherwise, it's just the cats, and they sleep a lot.
They're lumps.
So the camera goes up there to charge. 2 nights, but I'm talking about the second night in particular that this happened.
Yep.
The camera was facing our bed, which some people might be like, that's weird. Why would you face it towards your bed? Yeah. Chase is to mess around to find out type, so we're going to see if anybody's watching us while we sleep. I wake up the next morning and I'm the only one who has access to this camera. I don't know why Chase never got access to this camera.
I do. I just got rid of it because I got tired of the notification.
So I was looking through like the videos that went off last night. A, he moves a lot in his sleep, okay? And B, he always told me that I push him off the bed. That is not what happens, and I have proof of that now, okay? You push me off the bed all the time. But behind our bed, we have a string of fairy lights. And the fairy lights were on both of the times that this happened, which leads me to say that this happened because this happened, it was the fairy lights, that's why this happened, but it really doesn't make sense that it would have been the fairy lights. Both nights that we've seen this, the second night I look, and Chase is laying like this with his arm out, okay? Again, he takes up the whole bed. And on his arm, which is not near the fairy lights, there's just a light blinking from like under the blankets, it looked like. Just blinking on his arm like this. And then it just stops. But it was blinking for like a good period of time, like a good few seconds, okay? It was just, but it looked like it was coming from under the blanket. And you were like, was your phone on? But my phone was not on, and my phone's not near you when I go to bed. It stays near the nightstand, it doesn't stay, and it wouldn't blink. Even if it was on, which it wasn't on, it wouldn't blink. That made no sense, okay?
Right.
But that happened twice. That was the second time. And the first time it was blinking, it looked like it was coming from under the bed, which is not where the fairy lights are. The fairy lights are at the top of our bedpost. It looked like it was coming from under our bed, back behind our heads. We caught that twice, and then the camera actually did a hard reset, and I lost all the footage. Every single thing gone.
Unfortunately.
I don't even know why it would have did a hard reset, because it was fine. There was nothing wrong with the camera. It did a hard reset, everything gone. I'm so heartbroken about that, because those videos I also cannot explain.
Yeah, I assume the hard reset is because the battery like completely died. And
the battery has completely died before.
No, I mean like completely died. When a battery dies like that, there's still enough left to run basic functions, like keep the date clock going.
I guess I don't really know, and I'm not saying the camera died because of something paranormal, but the lights definitely were not explainable, because where the light was blinking on you and behind us was nowhere near the fairy lights that were wrapped around the top of our bed. Nowhere. Yeah,
it was. I personally can't figure out a way that.
It looked like it was coming from under the blankets on your arm.
Right, so the fairy lights would be here, my arm would be here, and then the light was coming this way, and it's reflecting up.
No, but the fairy lights were never near you. The fairy lights go around the top of our bed, so it wouldn't have been near your arm at all, or near
either
where
way.
It was tied.
Right, it was above, the fairy lights were above, but this was coming up and dispersing that way.
I still can't explain that. I have no idea what that was, but I also seen it and went, well, thank God it wasn't me. Thank God it happened to you, because it wasn't me. So
it was my arm and my head.
I'm just happy it was not me when things happen like that. I'm like, I'll take it for what it is. It was you.
Yep.
So what other story do you have? It's kind of interesting, because a lot of what I feel like in my experiences is happened in this house.
We did have quite a lot happen here.
Now this house, I will say, our house has the land that our house is on has history.
We just don't know it all.
It was known for, how can I say without saying exactly where we live? It was known for mills. There used to be mills running all the way down this creek.
The farmhouse is the old mill.
There is old farmhouse right down there. We see bunnies a lot. It used to be a bunny farm, and that's why they say we see bunnies a lot, because that guy bred bunnies. Now, I don't know if he bred them to eat them or what, but supposedly he did, and that's why we see bunnies there.
That why we have a lot of foxes in the area too?
I imagine the foxes come with the bunnies. So this property does have history, but the house itself has no bad history.
No.
Like the people we bought it from ended in divorce, and that's why they sold it to us, but there was no bad history. Like my mom's house, and my mom's house has
bad juju.
It's the little girl died there, and back in the day when that happened, they would have the funerals in the houses. Yeah. So hers was actually in that house.
Yeah. No, here we bought this place from the original owners. They built it in like 2000-ish.
Yeah, and nothing bad. Again, they ended in divorce, but nothing bad that I know of ever happened.
Mm-hmm.
But most of my experiences are here in this house.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. It's kind of weird for me. Do you have any other stories? I know you have stories, and we could go on forever and ever and ever about stories, but anything else you want to share before? Again, we're going to do like an actual investigation, but not in this video.
It's a quick story, but there's this mountain in like central PA that I used to go to because there was some tragic stuff that happened there.
See, mess around and find out.
There's a whole saga I could talk about, but this one in particular case, a buddy of mine who was huge into the paranormal, he wanted to go camping there. I see the look on your face like, you idiot.
That tomato was really juicy, but yeah, no, I agree.
Anyway, he wanted to go camping there, so we got a tent and we made our way there one night, and we made our way into the woods. We found, I don't know why we did this specifically, but we found this moss-covered rock, and we set up the tent on top of this moss-covered rock.
Is that where that picture comes from, where you're like sticking your head out?
No. Anyway, we went in there and we figured, okay, well, let's just see what happens, right? I laid down to just kind of chill for a second, and it was one of those moments where, well, okay, needless to say, I took 2 breaths. I laid down, I counted 2 breaths, and at the end of the second breath, my buddy was punching me in the shoulder, telling me to wake up, and when I woke up, it was suddenly daytime. I completely missed time. I don't know what happened, but he was utterly terrified. And he's telling me, we need to get out of here now. It's daylight. We have the opportunity to get out. So I was confused. I'm thinking, what the heck just happened? I laid down. I was counting my breaths. I breathed twice. All of a sudden, it's daytime. We got there.
You fall asleep
at 1 a.m. So I don't know what happened. He said I basically went comatose. Like he's been punching my shoulder for hours, right? So we wrap up the tent. We make our way out, and he's looking over his shoulder the whole time, and I'm like, dude, you have to tell me what happened. I'm like, time skipped for me. I don't know what happened. And he's like, yeah, you breathed and then you stopped breathing and you just laid there like a stone. I've been punching your arm the whole night. I didn't sleep a wink because all of a sudden stuff started running around our tent and smacking our tent, and I couldn't sleep because there was weird noises all night, things just running around. And it's not like, scurry. He's like, stuff was literally running around and smacking our tent. And I wish I experienced that, but I'm glad I didn't experience that. But needless to say, we haven't been back to that mountain since. 2
things I would say about that. 1,
yes,
you are a heavy and fast sleeper. I could be talking Chase 1 minute, next minute he's gone. He's out. He's asleep. And you are a heavy sleeper. Unless something bad is happening, like that tick I found the other night, you're gone. You're out. Right. You don't care. Anything can happen. There's been plenty of times that this guy has taken the dog out and doesn't remember it the next morning.
Fair enough.
One time he took the dog out and it was like a half an hour, and I went, this was just the other night.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, something's wrong. Let me look on the cameras. And I looked on the cameras and you were just sitting there, and then you came in, and I was like, you came in like within a minute, so I didn't come and get you.
Mm-hmm.
Of me looking on the cameras. But then next morning I was like, you remember taking the dog out? Because you were out there for and you didn't remember. You don't remember anything.
Autopilot.
So you are a quick sleeper and you are a deep sleeper.
Mm-hmm.
And C, because that was my A and B. C is, if I was in his shoes, I would have woke you up. There's no way I would have figured out how to wake you up.
He was trying. He was punching my shoulder.
I would not have slept alone that night at all. If I was going to experience it, you would have been experiencing it.
Okay.
Absolutely. I would not have done that alone. Nope. If I did it, you were going to do it. Absolutely.
Mm.
There's no way. There's no way. If I have to do it, you have to do it. I give him props for not figuring out how to wake you up, or leaving you there. Because who drove the car?
I did.
But he drives, right? I would have took the car.
Yeah, he drives.
I would have been gone. I would have been like, oh, it's a shame. We'll come back and see him in the morning if he's still alive.
Apparently, according to his story, I kind of understand why he didn't, because he didn't know what was out there, which was clearly within contact of our tent.
Just shimmy the tent over to the car, like a walking tent over to the car.
It was tethered down.
Could you imagine doing that, getting in your car, turning on the lights and something just being there?
Oh
Absolutely
God, no.
not. Absolutely. You know, the freakiest thing about being a parent is when they wander in your room late at night one night and they go, Mom, Dad, and you wake up and they're like right there.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Freakiest thing about being a parent.
Absolutely.
Bella scared you at one time though. That was hilarious.
I know.
She came down the steps sleepwalking and our steps turned and Chase was going up the steps to see if she was okay. And he realized she was right there.
Okay, listen. She was sleepwalking, but she did this zombie thing.
She sleepwalk a lot.
She did this zombie thing where she's kind of like leaning up against the wall.
She was sleepwalking.
And then she tilted towards the other wall, and her head kind of did one of these. And then she just kind of slammed into the other door and like slid down on the railing.
I'm so happy she doesn't sleepwalk anymore.
And I bounced back, and I legitimately screamed, high-pitched, little girl scream.
Yes, you did.
I hate zombies.
I was laughing way too hard to ask you if you were okay, too. I was laughing way too hard.
But I screamed loud enough that it woke Belle up out of her sleepwalking, and then she started bawling. Because, you're not supposed to wake somebody up when they're sleepwalking.
No.
I did, unfortunately, and she just ended up bawling and running back to her room.
I just touched that cheese. I just wanted to see what the film on it felt like. I'm a feel and smell person. I smell everything and I feel everything. Do you remember when we lived at the apartment, when Logan used to say there was something in the corner when he was a baby? When we left the apartments, Logan was around...
3.
3?
3.
I was going to say 4, so 3.
Yeah,
okay.
3.
He would have turned 4 a few months after. Yeah. He used to say there was always something in the corner of his room, and it used to freak me out. And when I would put him back to bed, I would never look up. I would always just kind of look down.
There were times. Listen,
leave the room.
There were times he would wake up crying. I would be the one to go check on him, and he would be in his bed doing this, screaming, crying, looking and pointing at the corner of his room at that door.
I will say, we left after that. We didn't leave because of that, but we left after that. Because again, I'm not a full believer, so I can pretty much justify just about anything. I could say he was having a bad dream. I could say anything. Yeah. We did leave after that, but that apartment complex does have history. I mean, the guy above us sadly passed away while we were there, and we had no idea that he was having the troubles that he had.
Yeah, we didn't.
He hid it so well. I had no idea he was having any trouble.
Nope. But
that apartment complex definitely has history. It's been around for a long time.
He didn't have issues with that again. And when he was in his room, he had his own room.
Oh, you mean when we moved?
Yeah, and then when we moved here, he never had that problem again. He had his own room. I mean, technically that was Belle in his room, but...
Yeah, they shared a room at the apartment.
We were still trying to get Belle out of our bed at that
point.
When
we were here or when we were at the apartment?
At the apartment. So technically that was his room. But,
yeah, you're right.
But the fact is he had his own... He has his own room here. Right, he has his own room here, and never happened. It didn't even faze him at that point.
No, that apartment building was...
something else.
It was pretty old. I'm trying to think if there was any more times. I know one time, and I don't know how I would take that. I would take this with a grain of salt, but I remember sitting on my mom's bed being little, and a belt flew off of like her dresser. And the weird thing was I was like, I wonder if that could fly off of that dresser. Like I was watching something and I looked over at the belt and I went, I wonder if that could fly off the dresser. And then it did. And I ran to my mom who was in the bath at that time or shower. And I was like, that was the weirdest thing ever. I just don't want to go back in there. And then, oh my goodness, you know what happened to me after? My mom watches this. She's going to laugh and she's going to text me too because she's going to find it funny. Only like 2 days after that, a whole blackout happened, and I happened to be in that room when it happened. I screamed my little head off. My dad had to come get me with a flashlight because I was not moving at all. There's no way I was going anywhere.
Poor baby.
just a few days ago, I seen this bug go flying off, and then the light's just out.
Mm.
And you know, like, I lived in Philly. Like, it's row homes. Like, when the lights go out in a whole cluster, it's the creepiest thing ever. It's so creepy.
I remember something from when I was a kid.
Well, now we're digging deep into this, because I'm remembering things as we go, too.
So, I was living in Jersey at the time, and all my siblings, my mom and dad were upstairs. Actually, I think my dad was away at work. But all my siblings were upstairs, and I was in the basement.
I'm just getting something to drink. I'll be back.
Sure.
Ooh, my legs.
So I was in the basement where we have a playroom. And we spent so much time down there. I mean, yeah. Anyway, I was playing down there by myself. And I think I had like, this play school roads set up and used. And I had like Voltron and Transformers and fire trucks and stuff. Anyway, I was playing, and I don't specifically remember what it was, but like I was playing with an emergency vehicle, and I was making noises like every little kid does when they play. And I remember going woo woo woo, right? And then all of a sudden, from the closet, we had this wall closet where we put all our toys, right? From the closet, I hear a voice go, woo, 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 ho, 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 right?
I would have been gone.
I got up and I booked it out of there. I know it wasn't any of my siblings, because when I ran upstairs, they were all watching TV.
I would never went back down there. It would have taken me time to go back down there.
I eventually forgot about it,
Yeah, I guess that's what happens when you're a kid. You just forget about it.
You forget and you move on. But like, I have no idea what the hell that was. It wasn't a toy or anything. Like, we did have an AG bear, but the way AG bear works, it doesn't actually.
Your mom still has the AG bear.
Yeah, the AG bear doesn't do.
It doesn't repeat you like that.
It doesn't repeat you like that.
No.
Like you make a noise and then it repeats.
It mumbles it,
right.
Yeah.
But this thing, it did the exact mimic of the sound, and then it was this evil freaking laugh afterwards. And
Nope.
I can't think of a toy that we had that would have done that, and it was just, it freaked me the hell out.
I was gone. So I have a question, kind of getting off of like this scary stuff, because I won't pee alone tonight if we keep on it. Okay, so I'm gonna give you an example. You tell me if you ever had something like this.
Sure.
So when I was little, and my mom would tell me no now, but I clearly remember, and so do my siblings. My mom used to tell me, and I don't know why the cracks in our house lit up, like the corners would light up.
What?
Yeah, I don't know if it was close. Actually, I really don't know why they wouldn't light up, but they would be like lighter, nosebleed lighter than the rest of the room, like the cracks, like the corners.
Okay.
And my mom always told me it's the angels watching over you. It's angels watching over you. We were religious on and off growing up, as you know. We were religious on and off growing up, so she would tell me it was the angels looking out for you. And then when I grew up, it happened when I was with my mom, and I was like, it's the angels. And she was like, what do you mean? And I was like, you always told me it was the angels looking out for us, so that's what I'm telling you. And she was like, I never told you that. I was like, no, I know you did. I remember. Oh, that reminds me. Oh, that so reminds me.
Oh, no.
You know, I forgot about this until now, and as a kid, it freaked me out, but it only freaked me out for a few days. Like you said, you forget about things, you move on.
Yeah.
I remember being in my mom and dad's bedroom. My mom was in the bed. I was in the bed. I think my sister might have been there too. Again, we used to do sleepovers just like every other kid, right? So when my dad would be working or whatever, we'd do a sleepover. And I remember her bed was right next to the door.
I'm going to clean this up. I'm sorry. Keep going.
The way that my mom's bedroom worked was there was two doors. There was one door that led to the hallway, then there was another door that led to the next bedroom. I think that's how a lot of old houses were in Philly. I don't know. Anyway, the bed was right between the two doors. And her door was closed, and her door was a wooden hollow door. Do you remember those at all, Chase? Not like what we have now.
Oh, yeah.
It was almost like paneling, it kind of.
Yes.
Kinda.
Yes.
And I heard scratching on the door. It was loud and it was clear, and we did not have cats at the time, and it freaked me out so much. And I told my mom, and she was like, it's probably one of your brothers just messing around. We opened the door and there was nothing there. I will never forget that. It was clearly scratching on that door.
Must be cats.
If there was no, we didn't own cats at that time. Otherwise, I probably would have blamed it on the cats. That freaked me out so much as a kid. But again, only for a few days, then you forget about it, you move on, and I don't know, you go back to doing whatever. So do you have any other stories? Again, I will say, we were religious off and on. So a lot of times if something happened, we could always say it was one thing or the other. We never...
Yeah.
We were never like, oh my goodness, it's something evil.
I do have other stories, like, but that gets into the realm of, you know...
Any other stories you would want to share? I know you used to do a lot more ghost hunting that you didn't say.
Yeah.
And there was something else.
Dealt with a lot of freaky stuff that's like...
Because again, you were the mess around to find out type of person.
I was the mess
not
around
the mess
to
around
find
to find
out
out
type
type
of
of
person.
person. I was gonna say, you see something, you pray about it, and you go, it's not what you think it is.
No.
Oh my goodness. Okay, so again, this doesn't go on the paranormal side, but it still goes on the bizarre, weird side. When I first started having hormone problems, you remember I would sleep. Now, I would tell you guys, I do not remember this months and months of sleeping for mostly all day. But you do.
Yeah, there was 3 months where you slept 20 hours a day.
I don't fully remember that.
Because you were sleeping 20 hours a day.
But I really don't remember that period, like, at all. But I do remember this. One time our bedroom used to be a bedroom/office. We had our bed, we had Chase's office. So Chase would work there. I remember waking up one day and saying two names to you, saying a husband and wife's name. I don't remember what it is anymore. I think it was Margaret and something. And I remember saying they died here. And we Googled it, and sure enough, in our town, there was a husband and wife by that exact name that passed away.
Yeah, somewhere in town.
Yeah, I remember that. And again, I wouldn't say that was paranormal, but I just remember waking up and I just knew these, and I knew what they looked like too. I could describe them to you clear as day, as if I've seen them, and they looked just like that when we looked them up.
Well,
I remember that happening.
Okay, this is along a similar vein, in the sense that it's dream that overflowed into reality.
Yeah.
I remember I had this dream where I was in a boat and I was floating down this small river, right? There's woods everywhere. And I remember coming up, and there was this small village on either side of the creek. And again, this creek was not much bigger than, you know, this table, and so the boat
like
was
yeah,
the boat was very small, and it was pretty much just me sitting in there. And you know, I stopped near this village, and I got out, and there was a toll I had to pay, so I was paying the toll. And you know, they said, you know, you're actually not far from where you need to be. Just keep going, and you'll see it. There's lights everywhere, right? And so as I got into the boat, I looked into the water and I saw my face, and it was my face, but I was a different. I was.
You're a different person.
I was a different person, right? And anyway, I kept going, and then eventually it just kind of opened up to this massive, larger river. It just kind of flowed right out into it, but then you could see the lights and the lanterns from all the houses along the way. And I remember looking to myself, and I sat back, and I said, oh, so this is the Great Seta River. I'm looking forward to my journey, right? And I woke up, and I'm like, Seta River, what the heck is that? So I Googled it.
It's an actual place?
It's an actual river. It's an actual river in Japan that leads, that feeds into, I want to say, the Uji River, and then makes its way down to Kyoto. And it was a travel route for people to get to Kyoto via water. So I legit had this dream of being this dude going to the Sado River and making his way down to Kyoto.
That's interesting. Did you ever look up explorers to see if any of those would have jotted your mind?
I had no other cues to indicate who this person was or you know, exactly the time period or what. All I could tell you was it was a Japanese man. He had a sword with him and nothing else.
Do you think that could have came from like a history lesson you learned in school one day?
I never heard of the Sado River.
Oh, I never heard of it either.
I've never even heard it uttered in anime that I've watched.
I mean, I teach history and I still haven't heard it.
Yeah.
I teach American history, so unless it was important for America. And if it was, we didn't hit on it yet, so I don't know.
So.
Yeah, I remember things like that. I remember being able to tell you about your granddad when we just first met.
Before Logan
was born. No, it was even before Bella was born. It was when we first met.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, we still have that paper somewhere.
That's right. You did write that down.
I was able to tell you about him before we first met. You went, yeah, spot on. I remember all that.
Yeah.
So we've had some experiences in life in general. We've had some experiences here. Again, most of my experiences were in this house. And I still don't consider myself a full believer, but I respect everybody's thoughts and opinions on it, and I respect everybody's religion. I respect everybody on everything, okay? Everybody's different. So even though I'm not a full believer, I respect everyone's opinions on it.
Likewise, but I'm also the mess around and find out kind of guy. I'm a scientist.
You're more of a believer than I am, though, with it.
I'm a scientist, so like, I'm just saying, this stuff happened. I don't always have an explanation for it. I have theories. Yeah. I have gathered evidence. I have analyzed the evidence, and I've seen results. Some of it I can reproduce, not all of it. But, you know, all I can say is, you know, these were the experiences, and, you know, they are what they are. So
we're going to turn off this camera and we'll be like, oh my goodness, I remember that.
Well, we'll do another video then. Ghost stories with Chase and Rick.
This does say it's over an hour, which is going to be a lot to edit. A lot.
Yeah.
But, so stay tuned. It probably won't be the next video coming out after this, but another video shortly after this will be us ghost hunting or looking around our house with some equipment to see, I don't know, what we can find. And best believe we will pray before that. We will pray in our own respective ways, because I don't want anything in this house like that. But we will have fun, and we do have the equipment, so we will have fun doing that. And I never used any of the equipment. I know you've used certain things, but I've never used any, so it will be all new to me. And I did have some recommendations, but because this is just for fun, I am not buying a 200 or 300, whatever it was, Omnipod or something like that.
Oh, yeah, no.
Cool.
You'll need to do all that stuff.
But I am not buying anything expensive for that video. But we will have fun doing it nonetheless, and we will see what happens. And
what did you get?
You'll see when the video happens.
Oh,
okay.
So we're doing an equipment reveal. That's fun.
Well, it's not going to be. We're just going to do the video. Oh, and we also have, which I thought about, and I'm sure I will repeat this in the next video. We do have a haunted. I totally forgot about that experience at the haunted restaurant near us, where something touched my leg and I thought it was Chase, and it wasn't Chase. So I looked around for any bugs because I thought maybe it'd be a bug crawling on me, but there was nothing. There was nothing there.
This is when we're having lunch.
Yeah. I totally forgot about that experience. But we do have a haunted. It's a restaurant and a hotel. So maybe one day we could even go there with it and see. Because I always wanted to stay at that hotel.
Let's save that story for another day.
Not just because that hotel is haunted. I always wanted to stay at that hotel because the room all the way up at the top is like a 360 room. It's like it looks like the top of a castle, in my opinion. The top of a castle tower. Yeah. 360. Oh, I always want to stay there. Not just because of the stories. I just really want to stay there. It's so pretty. So maybe we'll do that one day too. That would be fun.
A staycation.
A
local staycation, maybe.
Yeah, I think that would be fun. All right, guys. So tune in. One day soon, we will have that video going and up. And I'm excited. A little nervous to do, but excited. Are you?
Oh, I'm looking forward to it.
Alright guys, so I hope that you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you have any bizarre stories down below. It doesn't have to be just paranormal. It could be intuition, stuff like that. Let me know those stories down below because I would love to read them. I hope that you guys have a good morning, afternoon, or evening, and I will see you in our next video. Bye guys.